In a rematch of last year's NBA Finals, the Warriors came up on top against the league's current best team in the Celtics. I wanted to explore a similar theme that the Warriors exploited in last year's matchup and how the Splash Bros got open looks from Boston's go-to drop defensive coverage in their screening action. So let's get right to it. For the first field goal, you can see Boston completely ignoring Draymond on the perimeter, and the counter to this game plan is to swing the ball to him for an immediate handoff action. Klay comes around this pick with his man Grant Williams trailing, and Green's defender Jaylen Brown dropping super low, and Thompson gets an open mid-range. The Warriors are number 1 in the league in scoring on movement plays, and here we have a dribble handoff on the strong side for JP to get the ball. At the same time, Draymond sets a pin down for Klay, while Curry is casually jogging to the weak side. This opens up a small lane for a cutting Thompson and his layup, and a good assist by Poole. On a double pick and roll, Marcus Smart is chasing Curry and gets stuck on Kuminga's pick, but Klay fakes the screen. Boston wanted to switch on-ball screens involving the Splash Brothers, but with Kuminga's man and Blake Griffin dropping pretty low, Smart is left scrambling to find Thompson, who's wide open and buries a quick release 3. In last year's finals, we knew Boston's bigs dropped well in the paint on-ball screens, and the Warriors won the series by countering and shooting off of these open looks. Kevon Looney sets a pick, and Steph immediately realizes that Blake Griffin is a slow-footed big man in drop coverage, throws the ball ahead to get some spacing and hits a 3 for a 4-point play. Again, Boston do not want to switch these on-ball screens involving a big, so this forces Malcolm Brogdon to chase Thompson while Looney's man in Griffin is in another drop coverage. Klay hits a tough mid-range here, but when you know the defensive coverage, it makes a huge difference. Here's another action involving Blake Griffin, who Curry has a history of abusing. Klay sets a pick and Boston gets a switch they want on guards in Malcolm Brogdon, and Looney comes for a second pick with Griffin again in drop position, and Steph gets an easy pull-up mid-range here. In the second half, the Celtics guards decide to anticipate Curry using these on-ball screens to drive to the paint or pull up for mid-range. And here Kevon Looney sets a pick, and here's another drop coverage by Griffin. Smart decides to make the cardinal sin by spinning and going under this pick, anticipating Curry will drive, and Steph simply counters this by pulling up from long distance. I can't imagine what the coaching staff on the Celtics are doing leaving Griffin out there, as Looney sets a handoff screen to Klay with his man and Grant Williams already trailing, and Blake Griffin is stiff in the paint in drop position. Thompson sees this and it's a wide open one dribble pull-up from 3. By now, Golden State was leading pretty comfortably by double digits, and Boston finally decided to take Blake out and put a more mobile Grant Williams at the 5 spot. With Tatum starting on Steph, DiVincenzo set an off-ball screen for Curry, and Boston switched this with Jaylen Brown. Draymond comes for the dribble handoff, and you can see Grant Williams in a similar drop position but a little higher up, and Jaylen Brown does not learn the lesson and also goes under the screen again. Wide open for Steph as he pulls from deep. Timeout Celtics. There you guys have it. Despite a mediocre start to the season, the Golden State Warriors came up on top with a statement win against an NBA's best team by record so far, pretty much dominating the whole game. It did not help that it was another poor showing by Jason Tatum, but I wanted to focus on the Warriors' offensive game plan that reminded me of how they created open looks for the Splash Brothers this past June in the finals. Steve Kerr anticipated correctly how Boston's big men were going to play drop coverage on the defensive end, and the counter to this was to allow on-ball actions for Steph and Klay to pull up from downtown or at least get a solid look from mid-range. The Warriors capitalized this on the strategy correctly and pulled out a solid win in San Francisco. I would imagine having a more perimeter-oriented Al Horford or even Robert Williams will help the Celtics next time, instead of relying on Blake Griffin as their main big man. Now onto the road trip, and if you guys like this breakout, like and subscribe to see more.